You are now in tune with
Mamba Radio.
Alright, what up, everybody? Thank you for tuning into Mamba Radio. For those who don't know, my name is Jackson, and happy Aloha Friday to everybody out there. Hopefully, you guys all enjoyed your week. And, of course, don't want to forget Happy Rusev Day. Again, hopefully you guys all enjoyed your week. And, like I said, the weekend's finally here, so, like I said, let's celebrate. Because there's not a whole lot going on this week. Like I said, I promise this time, for realsies, I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. Like I said, the dog days of summer are really here. If it wasn't for the World Cup, which I guess I'll start with, we'd be in big trouble. I know a lot of people out there aren't as big baseball fans like I am. So like I said, we have baseball, but I mean, for most of you guys out there and gals, this World Cup is really saving a lot of us. But like I said, and also I'm going to be 100% honest, I'm not the biggest soccer fan, so I haven't really been following the World Cup, super close or anything like that. I'm not going to act like I have any analysis on who's great, who's good, and who's not, and all that stuff. But I will say it is great to have live sports on, early in the morning while I get ready or anything like that. So like I said, I it's cool to have it on as like what I like to call fish tank TV, where it's just kind of TV that's on. And you don't always have to fully pay attention to it, but at least it's there. So shouts to all the teams that are making it, that are doing well. Mexico and Japan are still in it. For those who don't know, I am part Mexican and part Japanese, so shout out to Mexico and Japan. So like I said, I guess I'm not sure who the favorites are. Obviously, I know, I guess Brazil is pretty good. They're still in it. And I don't know. I really don't know. Like I said, I'm blanking. I've honestly have no idea. But Portugal, because I know Portugal it has Ronaldo. I know Argentina's got Messi. You know what I mean? So I know that's I just know the basics. But as far as who I think's gonna win it all, I honestly have no fucking clue. So I'm just happy to have live sports on. At some of the oddest hours of the day, so like I said, it's good, and hopefully, like I said, I guess the games resume tomorrow or throughout the weekend, and the later parts of tomorrow, throughout the weekend, and maybe the beginning parts of Monday and Tuesday, I think is how it's laid out. Let me see. Yes. So like I said, hopefully, we can all enjoy that when we get ready for the 4th of July weekend. But yeah, that's the World Cup. Like I said, I don't have much to say on that. With basketball, so everyone thinks that today is a day. So July 1st is the official, I believe, day where everyone has to make their decisions. But today was the day where teams have to decide to opt in or out of their deals. Of their deals. So that's why LeBron opted out this morning. Paul George announced that he had not opted out the other day. A lot of people are opting out of this stuff, and like I said, so the frenzy is officially going to begin. This is going to be a very, very, very long weekend. And it's all dictated by LeBron, and depending on what he does, that's the first domino that's going to fall. That's going to cause, it's going to essentially just determine what happens next, in a lot of ways. And it's obviously there's the big names, like I said, with LeBron and then Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, but there's also some other, there's other players that might go under the radar a little bit. Players like DeAndre Jordan. There's a lot of the Mavericks have a lot of interest in DeAndre Jordan, so that's huge. That could change the course of the Western Conference. Depending on where he goes. Same thing with Jokic up in Denver. He opted out, but I believe that he did that so that they can restructure a new deal for him. So it looks like he's going to stay there. As we saw, Melo chose to stay earlier this week, or I believe last weekend. Who else is there off top? Boogie. The Pelicans had to decide what to do with Boogie. Is he going to go to the Lakers? Is he going to go to is he going to stay in New Orleans? Is he going to go to Dallas? Is he going to go to Houston? All kinds of stuff. So, but then again, with the Kawhi thing, it's the trade. For the Lakers, as a Laker fan, all I'm saying, or all I keep saying is, and it's not, like I said, it's not breaking any news, but it's just, the Lakers have all the leverage here. The Lakers and Kawhi have all the leverage here because Kawhi's made it known that he wants to come to LA. He wants to come here. So why would they trade away pieces to help them, why would they trade away pieces that they don't need to trade away? Do you get what I'm saying? If he's gonna end up here, don't trade something. Just let it happen. Let it ride it out. If the Spurs find a deal that they can't say no to, they'll trade him to whatever other team, and he'll just essentially do what Paul George did last season. He'll just be a 1-year rental, just go where he wants to go eventually. Like I said, they're gonna go where they want to go. That's the landscape that LeBron and KD set by choosing their own destiny essentially. So like I said, it's the other thing. Well, that's the one thing with the Kawhi situation at least. Specifically, as far as should we trade Brandon Ingram? Should we trade Julius Randle? It's don't trade anybody. Just leave them be. We're better with them than without them. Trust me. So let them be. Let it trust the process in this case, and let it all ride out. And then that's the first thing I want to say. And the other thing is there's all these speculations and scenarios and what ifs, and those are fun to do. Trust me, they're very fun to do when done correctly. And just me personally, I think that there's a lot of this stuff is being done incorrectly because, or at least not in a fun way, because at the end of the day, there's always Occam's razor. And for those of you who are unaware of what Occam's razor is, it's I guess it's like a theory or what do they call it, or a principle where it's essentially, if there's all these different options and routes and possibilities and stuff, it's usually Occam's razor. Usually, the simplest explanation tends to be the right one. And like I said, it's like I said. So that's what I'm going with. I tend to usually go with that theory a lot of the times, Occam's razor. And in this case, it's going to be, LeBron here. Like I said, Paul George is coming to LA. He's not doing all this Sports Center bullshit to stay in Oklahoma City. So Paul George is coming to LA. LeBron James might come to LA. More than likely will come to LA. And Kawhi Leonard will eventually end up in LA. So that's really Occam's razor. This has been known for months. I said months. And it's just, I get that they're trying to create this media storm and these big media outlets are trying to create a buzz and get clicks and all this shit like that. And they have to do something in order to keep it interesting. So I understand it. But, there's so many crazy what ifs, what if he goes to the Celtics and they trade Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving? Well, what if the sky was green and the water was the sky was green and the grass was blue? That's when it gets into all the different what ifs. I like the what ifs where it's more like revisionist, where you go back and do the what if. But what if this happened instead of this? What if Michael Jordan didn't retire? What if I don't, but you know what I mean, or you know what I'm saying, all these different what ifs. But all these different hypotheticals going forward are just ridiculous and crazy. And so, like I said, it's just like I said, for me personally, I just think it's Occam's razor. We're getting Paul George. We're gonna get these three guys at one way or another. And if something crazy happens, I guarantee. And then that's part of it too. Is some people, like guys like Colin Cowherd, want to just say the craziest thing, because then if it does happen for whatever chance or whatever reason, then all of a sudden they look like some fucking Nostradamus shaman guru or whatever, But it's just obviously you had no real empirical evidence that was going to happen. It was just, anybody can come up with, with the trade machine now and knowing what we know about the salary cap and all this stuff, anybody can come up with a reasonable, fantasy trade or anything like that. And like I said, but if something crazy does happen, and it doesn't turns out where Lakers don't get Paul George or LeBron or Kawhi or they get only two of them or they don't get any of them, or you know what I mean? If anything crazy happens or out of left field, like LeBron signs with the Bucks or Orlando or something, or Paul George decides, I'm just gonna go back to Indiana or something, something crazy. then like I said, then so be it. Whatever. No one saw it coming, and then no one's because none of us at the end of the day, none of us are really experts. No one's an expert. I am definitely not an expert. So it's just, who knows? It's really up to LeBron, and he has to make a decision by July 1st, I believe. So, like I said, hopefully you guys are ready for a long weekend of speculations and shit like that. But yeah, so that's just how this weekend's gonna shape up with the NBA. Throughout the week, we had also the NBA awards, which pretty straightforward, no surprises or anything like that. Like I said, pretty much everybody who we thought was gonna win ended up winning. James Harden won the MVP. Even though honestly LeBron should have won. James Harden won the MVP. Ben Simmons won Rookie of the Year. Some people want to say Donovan Mitchell. That's fine, but Ben Simmons obviously had those more consistently better year. Lou Williams, Sixth Man of the Year. Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player. Victor Oladipo got Most Improved Player. Dwayne Casey was the Coach of the Year. That's very awkward. Dwayne Casey was Coach of the Year. Dork Elvis, Daryl Morey got Executive of the Year. Kemba Walker got Sportsmanship Award of the Year. I'm not 100% sure what that category entails. I did not watch the awards. I was working. But, I don't understand what that one is. There's also some other little subcategories. Where is it? Where was it? It was that one who was a Hustle Award that Amir Johnson won, which is pretty much just like I guess like a consolation trophy or a participation trophy, I guess. I don't know. But then there was other, awards. Sager Strong, R.I.P. to Craig Sager. We miss you. Went to Dikembe Mutombo. Oscar Robinson with a Lifetime Achievement Award. Very, very well deserved. Who else? What else is there? Jamal Crawford won Teammate of the Year. It's kind of, I guess. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not sure what that entails either. Let's see. Kevin Durant won the Community Assist Award, which is great. That's always a great award to win. I guess that's the equivalent to like their Man of the Year award, Walter Payton Man of the Year for the NFL. Excuse me. And then there was other random stuff like Play of the Year, Shot of the Year, Dunk, like whatever. Just you can find that shit on YouTube. And so. Like I said, pretty straightforward, pretty boring as far as just like the results went. It was pretty, everyone kind of knew what was going to happen. Again, Occam's razor. Like I said, that's it. And it was cool that they blew it out and made it, like this big awards show and stuff. But I mean, like I said, I get it. I completely get it. It is a little hokey, a little corny and stuff like that. But hey, listen, fuck it. Like, whatever. Get their money, man. That's it. Just got to get their money. So, but yeah, that's it from basketball. Quickly through baseball. Dodgers split with the Cubs this week. Still playing very good baseball, but like I said, it was a great series. I cannot lie, that was a great series. Glad we got to see it here in LA. If you didn't have Time Warner, you were able to see it, at least two of the games on ESPN. So thank you to ESPN. Thanks to Dodgers and all that stuff for letting us see it. But Dodgers, bats are staying hot. Everyone's really hitting the ball very well. They're seeing the ball, hitting the ball, attacking the front of the baseball and stuff like that in the front of the zone. And like I said, they are reaping those benefits because now they have a chance to break the club the club record for home runs by a team in a month. At least for them, I think they are at 52 right now. I think the record's 53 or they're tied, something like that. But they're very close, and they're probably going to do it since they got games this weekend, 3 games this weekend, in a very, very important divisional series with the Rockies. Like I said, this was a big game for the big series with the Cubs. Dodgers themselves are, let me pull this up. They are in second right now, sitting pretty in the NL West at 43 and 37, and they are 3.5 games back against Diamondbacks. And depending on how this series goes with the Rockies, and how the Diamondbacks series this weekend goes with the Giants, the Dodgers, again, because when it's in the divisional round, the games don't count as half games, they count as full games. The Dodgers have a chance to either catch up to, or even potentially pass up the Diamondbacks. And so, like I said, it could be, like I said, this is a big series. I will be there on Saturday, so hopefully I'll see you guys out there. Look for the guy wearing the throwback Dodgers windbreaker with orange beanie. That's going to be your boy, so come say what's up if you're there. And so, like I said, just big series for the Dodgers. Big series for the Dodgers. Playing very well, still playing well. And like I said, no better time to be playing great baseball. Right up until the All-Star break. Like I said, they take a little break, try to rest up, get healthy, and then try to keep on rolling all the way into the playoffs. Same can't be said for the Angels, though. They are on a 6-game skid right now. Just getting swept by the Red Sox in a tough series. It's tough always having to play up in Fenway. But they got swept. And again, like I said, 6 games in a row they've lost. But like I said, they haven't had all their guys haven't been completely healthy, as we all know. Hopefully they can turn this around this weekend versus the lowly Orioles, who I think are pretty close to one of the worst teams in the league. And just not much else to say really about the Angels. They're just not playing good baseball. Like I said, I know the top guys are hurt, but they're supposed to get Trout back this weekend. That's good for them. Hopefully he can, use the Orioles as a little tune-up series to get back into the swing of things. I think he had a finger injury or hand injury or something like that. And also, I don't know when his timetable is. I think it's supposed to be later next month. But Ohtani has been cleared to play, but only as a hitter. So I mean, it's like I said. They said he's good to go. If they say he's good to go, I think he's good to go. Sure. It's just such a dicey thing to really do, in my opinion. Just because you really don't want to jeopardize this guy's future, man. This guy is the future of not just the franchise, but potentially the league. And if he's still young enough, or if you can have to go and maybe take a year or two off, then I don't see any faults in that. It'll help him get better. He can maybe hit the weights a little bit more, get a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. Being around the clubhouse is good enough, or it's not good enough, but it's good for helping him out and stuff like that. And like I said, he can get acclimated to living in America more and stuff like that. There's a lot of things that can benefit from it and stuff. So, but like I said, if the doctors say he's good, the doctors say he's good. So, like I said, I think he said the timetable for Ohtani might be sometime in, next month or something like that. I can't see. Yeah, I can't find it right now. But yeah, like I said, he got cleared to play, so he's gonna play. So that's gonna do it for the sports side of things. Hate when I have to do it like this, but going into the other news that happened around the world this week, mainly, well, not around the world, but big news from this week. Starting off, I hate having to start off with a solemn note, but we had another shooting here in America. This time at a newspaper in Maryland, the Capital Gazette, that left 5 dead and more injured. Just an absolutely terrible, terrible thing. That happened, and it appears like it was a targeted attack, a well thought out attack by a former employee who was out for revenge for something. I think he was wrongfully terminated or some, I don't know, but just an absolutely horrible thing to have happen, and it's my heart goes out to all of them. It seems like I said, what really sucks is the media was trying to portray it in a way where it was, trying to, get rid of free speech and take down free speech and stuff. And that is a big, huge issue, especially when you have people like Trump and fucking Milo telling people to, literally shoot and try to harm journalists for speaking their opinions and stuff, and that is never the answer. That is never the solution to anything, and especially when we have the right to free speech, to free press, to free, publicity and all that stuff. And it's just, it breaks my heart, man. As a wannabe journalist myself, who appreciates the fact that I get to sit here in front of this microphone and speak my mind freely, without having to worry about any consequences, and it breaks my heart that there's people out there, who are being attacked, both, physically, verbally, mentally, and all that stuff for their, for speaking their mind, and then I understand that's part of the name of the game. That's what you get into. You know what I mean? You're putting yourself out there. That's what's gonna happen. But like I said, in no way does it deserve any kind of physical violence like what ensued today or yesterday, excuse me. Like I said, my heart goes out to those families and the Capital Gazette itself, and they are showing strength that I don't know how many other people could, but they continue. They went back to work. They went back to work. They tweeted it out that they're putting out a damn paper today. It wasn't much. But it said a lot. It said it was enough. They said they're putting out a paper today. The front page was, obviously the headline of what happened, and they left their editor's notes, I believe, or a certain page blank, in memory of their fallen coworkers and employees. And like I said, it's a very sad thing, and it's just another. And it said that it's another shooting. Not by a Muslim, not by a Mexican, but another shooting by a white male from America, who also, by the way, was peacefully apprehended, while we're seeing other videos of, after he just murdered 5 people and tried to murder more, was peacefully apprehended. Not saying that he needs to be shot or anything or killed for what he did. But at the same time, on the same day when this happened, we were seeing other videos of, people of people of color in other parts of America trying to peacefully and non-violently or be, being taken in by police. And we've seen that one where the guy was sitting on the curb and he was tased from behind because he said he wasn't following directions when he was being peaceful and calm and nothing. No, he had his hands up and everything, still tased. It's. And it just it gets me. It boils my shit, dude. I'm telling you. And that's the reason why Kaepernick kneels. That's the reason why these athletes kneel. That's the reason why these people are so upset. And that's the reason why everyone is up in arms where they are, because of shit like this. Like I said, I'm not saying that this guy needed to be shot and killed or anything, but it's just it just continues to happen where people of color in this country are being interrogated or being frisked or being stopped or do whatever by the police, and they're murdered. They are murdered by the police. That is what happened. They are murdered by the police. And these other people not of color, people of Caucasian, mainly Caucasian males, who do shooting sprees like this or other horrible, unspeakable things, and they're just peacefully apprehended. Nothing, we'll just, we'll follow everything, whatever, and I'm sorry that I'm blanking on their names, but just the 2 young black boys who were murdered by the police recently this month, and and then there's the whole thing where they shouldn't have broken the law. Well, it's like, you know what? Everyone breaks the law once or twice in their life, okay? And a lot of the times it's for stupid shit too. It's just whether it's, petty theft or, running a stop sign or running a red light or whatever. But, it happens. And sure, sometimes you break the law, but that doesn't mean you have to fucking die because of it, And it's like I said, I always say this, if it happens one time, it's an accident. Sure, accidents happen, but when it happens over and over and over and over again, it's not an accident. It's a pattern of repeated behavior, and it's a problem that needs to be fixed. And again, the shooter was not Muslim or Mexican. The shooter was a white male. And I'm piggybacking this onto the next thing, because the Supreme Court upheld the travel ban. And sure, the language that is in it now may literally be politically correct, where it checks all the boxes and there's nothing that they can whatever about against it. But everyone knows that it's rhetoric. and its genesis, and the reason why it is in place today, it is because it is based on xenophobia and racism and hate spewed from not my president, but our president, Donald Trump, and the people that he is, the fear mongering that he is, and the audience that he is pandering to. That's what it is. And like I said, there's not been one single mass murder I don't think, or anything like that, like any crazy scandal or anything by a Muslim person or a Mexican person in this country. It has all been by white males shooting up these schools, or put it this way, not immigrants. And immigrants are the problem. We need to fix the problem within. And again, another transition. It's crazy how these things all work out. It's another transition, because we need change to happen so that this shit stops happening, or we can try to have it stop happening. And in what is honestly one of the probably saddest and darkest months in a long time, at least since I can remember, at least that I can cognitively remember in my lifetime, this June 2018 will go down in history as a dark month, considering everything that's been going on with the travel ban, the zero tolerance separating of the kids and the parents at the border, where their kids are still missing and the families are still missing, and no one knows where these kids are. No one knows what's going on. There's no plan to get them back together. With this shooting on top of it, all the shooting of the other young black males, and it's just all kinds of stuff going on. There's one little glimmer of hope out of New York, as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the 28-year-old Bronx native in New York, won the primary versus the big-time Democratic incumbent Joseph Crowley in a major upset. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I know what all that stuff means, because as I've mentioned before on this podcast and stuff, I'm still learning about all this stuff. I want to see change happen. I need to see change happen, and we need to see change happen. So I'm doing my best to try to learn all this stuff and figure out what all this stuff means, and get a better understanding of it, so I can help make an educated and better and smarter decision, not based on what these talking heads are telling me on TV. But what I can tell you about her winning is her victory shows the power of getting out and voting, because she refused to accept big money from these big, because that's, for those of you who don't know, a lot of these politicians, just like the college that you graduated from, just like anywhere else you went to or whatever, they are backed by big money. That's why people talk about. I was talking about this with some other people the other day, but the power of boosters at college is huge. And the same thing with these politicians. That's why all these politicians are bought and owned by these, specifically with the Republican Party. That's the reason why that they push these racist and xenophobic and horrible, awful agendas, is because the people that give them their money, that support their well-being and their livelihood, have those same views, or they don't necessarily share those views. And by they, I mean the politicians, but the people who are giving them money have those views. And so in order to keep them happy, they sell their soul in order to keep making more money. And that is not what Miss Ocasio-Cortez did. She refused to take money from these big businesses and these other big people, refused to take the big money backing. She did a grassroots program based in social media, based in her neighborhood that she grew up in, based in the neighborhoods that are around. Reached out to the youth, reached out to the minorities, reached out to the working class, reached out to everyone who feels like their voice is not heard. And they all stepped up. And she won in a big way. I think she won 57%. So she won in a big way. And her victory shows the power of voting, because that is the one thing that can change all of this. We saw the power of voting. The power of voting is the reason why we're in this situation in the first place, because all these, these closet racists and closet homophobes and closet bigots were sitting at home just spewing, seeing, all this stuff go on. And you might not, and I've mentioned this before tons of times in this podcast, you might not agree with the way they think. You might not believe the same things they believe, but they felt that they were unheard. They felt that they were I guess they felt that what was going on was wrong, even though that they are very fucking wrong. They felt that what was going on was wrong, and they wanted it to change, and they went out and they made it change. They went out and they voted. They got together and they voted, and now we are in the situation we are in because of that. And the only way that we can change this is to fight back, and so we need to get out there and vote. We just had the election earlier this month. We need, or the midterms or whatever. We had that earlier this month. Whenever the next elections come up, I believe there's some other stuff going on in between now, but the big one in November. We get ready for that. Please be registered to vote. Do everything you can to help get this country back on track, man, because it's very bad. And this shows that we can change things. If it can happen in a place like New York, it can happen in a place like here in LA. It can happen in a place like Florida. It can happen in a place like Ohio. It can happen anywhere. It can happen. We just need to get out and vote. And like I said, this is the first step in that. And this is a small glimmer of light in a very, very dark month. And it's, like I said, it's very inspiring to me. It's very inspiring to a lot of people out there. You can see how important this was to so many people in New York, and it's truly, truly inspirational. And like I said, props to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Like I said, she's just an amazing young woman, and like I said, it's just it can only go up from here. She still has some work to do. She still has to win. She has to defeat her Republican counterpart. I believe that's in November as well. But like I said, if that can happen there, it can happen here. So we gotta, like I said, get out there and vote, make it happen. And also, like I said, it all kind of everything kind of ties together. But there is with the Sarah Huckabee Sanders incident at that restaurant, the Redhead. I've never heard of it. It's not about that. But if what happened with her was the people who worked there and the manager or owner or whatever chose not to serve her and told her to leave because she didn't want to serve someone like Sarah Huckabee Sanders at her restaurant, because she does not respect or she doesn't agree with what Sarah Huckabee Sanders does and is continuing to do to this country. And I respect that from the Red Hen, and how they do literally reserve the right to refuse service to whoever. There's a sign on a lot of restaurants. Mostly every restaurant has that sign. And she exercised that right, and I respect that. There was also that other video that went viral about the lady who's the secretary of the DHS or whatever, who was saying that the separating of the kids is not an issue or whatever. All stuff's not going on. There was I believe it was in like Washington or the DMV area, where there was a bunch of local activists who are in opposition to it, to the wall and the travel ban and all that stuff, and they just, they went into where she was eating in a public place and just, called her out on it. They were calling her out. They were chanting. They were protesting. They were asking her questions. They were, just getting on her, asking her, why are you doing this? What is going on? What is the plan? Where, and all that stuff. And, it drove her out of the restaurant. And, Maxine Waters, from the Representative Maxine Waters from here in California, there was the incident which she happened with her, where she came out and she was trying to say, go out there and do that. We need more of that. We need more of this, more of that. And it just seemed like she was very caught up in the moment. And of course, the Fox News and the right-wing fucking media spewed it as if they're trying to have her to hurt people and stuff like that. And that's not the fucking case. Don't be fucking stupid, okay? That is not what is going on here. Don't physically harass anybody. Don't verbally harass anybody like that or anything. Don't spew any toxic or venom like they do to so many other people. But what we should do, or what you should do, first of all, you need to be educated enough first. Don't go out there just talking shit. Know what you're talking about. Have a game plan, and just like I said, just know what you're dealing with. Know what you're talking about. But don't go out there and physically and verbally harass anybody. But what should be encouraged is publicly challenging these politicians about these policies that they are backing and these policies that they are enforcing and these agendas they're trying to push, because more and more, like Sarah Huckabee Sanders as a large example of this, whenever it's approached at these press conferences or press hearings or whatever, they don't answer the questions. They don't answer them directly. They give the runaround, they filibuster, they do all this stuff to avoid answering the direct question. And anytime, we saw it where, I can't remember his name, but the other journalist was just yelling out of turn, but just yelling at her, saying, answer the question, just answer the question. And she would just completely continue to filibuster, saying, oh, you're just trying to get your 10 minutes of fame because you're talking out of turn, blah, blah, blah. So they know what they're doing is wrong, and they're continuing to try to silence, the people who are making the right choices and trying to get the right answers out and trying to get just answers in general out. So we need to make our voices heard. We need to get out there and find these people, and if they don't want to talk when it's officially time to talk, then we got to get the answers out to them no matter what, because when we are giving them their time to give us answers and they don't give it to us, then we need to take it from them. It's just the whole thing we'll talk about, well, it's not the right time to talk about gun control. Well, when is the right time to talk about gun control? When is the right time to talk about, taking a knee and whether what Kaepernick's doing is right or wrong? When is the right time? It's always the right time. And especially, like I said, when these politicians aren't giving us their time, or when they are, quote unquote, air quotes, giving us their time, and they aren't giving us any answers, they're just bullshitting us the whole time, and they're not giving us anything, like I said, go out and take it. So like I said, we're not out here trying to promote violence or anything in any way. All we're trying to do is just get answers, because no one's giving it to us. And they, like I said, they know what they're doing is wrong. That is why they hide. That is why they filibuster. That is why they don't give straight answers. That is why they do the things they do. So go out there and, again, have a game plan. Know what you're talking about. Know that they know the answers, but have answers for their bullshit answers, and don't take no for an answer. So, like I said, that's just the one thing that's what Maxine Waters was trying to get to. Of course, it came out a little misconstrued, but that is the ultimate thing. Like I said, let your voice be heard. Get out there and vote. Challenge these politicians. Challenge not just these big time politicians, but your local ones too. It just starts there. If you don't like what's going on in your town, in your city, or wherever, start there, and it'll only progress from there. So I went kind of long on the serious stuff. Sorry, I know that, because I know I'm trying to keep it silly and around here. Gonna end it with gonna end it on a better note. So, like I said, but just get out there and let your voice be heard. And speaking of letting your voices be heard, two guys that have no problem about letting their voices be heard, Jesus and Mero, are officially moving from Vice to Showtime. The brand is very, very strong, and congrats to those guys over there. They're big inspiration for me personally as far as what I do with this. I've been following those guys on Twitter for a while, since before the Viceland show, and before they got linked up with Vice, and before they did their shit with Charlemagne. Just following the kid Mero and Jesus Nice, just following them on Twitter because they're funny ass dudes. And like I said, just moving on up, securing the bag. Over there at Showtime now. So like I said, congrats to those guys. And like I said, the brand is very, very strong. Also with one more thing, or I guess kind of like, so Glow is back. Glow, the Glorious Ladies of Wrestling, or Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, excuse me, on Netflix. It is a great, great show. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly suggest you watch it. The season 2 is out now. I could not sleep last night, so I was up all night watching it. And it's great. It is really, really, really good. I personally like how with it, I like how, they continue the story from the first season. I'm not going to spoil anything, but what I really, really liked was how obviously in the first season they had to hook everybody and draw them in, and it was more for a widespread audience. But I liked this season how what they did was in each episode they took a little bit of a niche thing that happened from wrestling, from being women in entertainment, like these little niche things where it's like, wow, that's really, like that is what wrestlers go through, because this is based in the 80s, and a lot of the wrestling characters and gimmicks in the 80s were very offensive and hokey and blown out and stuff like that. And like I said, I like how they touched on a lot of those dynamics in a very relatable way, because it like I said, at the end of the day, it is a wrestling show, and as a wrestling fan, I really appreciate that they did that, because they could just take, a lot of shows nowadays just take a subject matter and they exploit it, in order to, usually, whether it is to just exploit the audience, or like I said, or maybe that's the hot thing right now, is like whatever it could be, that's what's in, so people are gonna watch regardless of what the storyline is, as long as it's talking about like vampire movies. Like maybe the vampire movie sucks, but like I said, or like just because there's vampires in it, people are gonna go see it. It doesn't necessarily mean they stay true to what vampires are, what they represent. Well, I get it. You get what I'm saying? That's what I really appreciate about this show. And like I said, not just with wrestling, as a wrestling fan, that's what I appreciate. But like I said, they also touch on what it's like being a woman in the entertainment business, and a lot of the Me Too stuff. Kind of not like, it's not full on or anything like that, but they touch on that kind of stuff. And so, like I said, Glow's out. Go watch it. It's great. Also, I finally got around to watching Arrested Development. That show is fucking hilarious. A lot of people told me I would really like it. My sense of humor, I just never got around to it, but I finally did. I really like it. Thank you everybody who recommended it to me. And yeah, like I said, I know I said I was going to keep it short and sweet, so I'm going to try to wrap this thing up. New Music Friday, Drake, Scorpion is going to dominate not just this weekend, but the entire summer. We all know that. So like I said, just that. There's nothing else really. Are you really going to be listening to anything else? Are you really, honestly, are you listening to anything else other than Scorpion? No. So listen to that. But I will recommend listening to Kamasi Washington, his new album that just came out. Well, it came out last week. I'm sorry for, I think I forgot to mention it, but yeah, Kamasi Washington's new album, Heaven and Earth, is incredible. Kamasi Washington is on a whole nother level. HNL, taking it to the HNL, the whole nother level compared to everybody else. And like I said, go listen to that. If you want to decide to take a break from Scorpion, listen to that. And also other stuff you want to take. If you want to take a break, listen to some podcasts I listen to. Black on the Air with Larry Wilmore, part of the Ringer Podcast Network. Great episode this week. That is where I got a lot of help on a lot of stuff to give me a little bit of insight on some of the stuff I was talking about today. But that is a great episode. Listen to his episode this week. Zach Lowe on the Low Post with Kevin Arnovitz. They talk about a lot of free agency talk, and that's not really Lakers related. So for all the other stuff that's been going on, listen to that one. That one's great. They also help break down the cap a little bit and how things are going to shape up next year and what next year's free agency entails. So listen to that one. That's going to be good. Revisionist History with Malcolm Gladwell. Malcolm Gladwell, an incredible, amazing writer and author. So listen to him. He put his 12 rules of life in a podcast form. So listen to that. Like I said, Malcolm Gladwell, one of the GOATs. So go ahead and listen to that if you want. And also, I just saw it dropped while I was recording and stuff. But Bill Simmons just put out a new podcast with H Bob, and it's just for Harala Bob Vulgaris for all the non-Bill Simmons podcast fans. But you better believe I'm going to be listening to that shit. It is about an hour and 40 minutes of Bill Simmons and Harala Bob just talking basketball and talking hoops. So what can go wrong there? But yeah, that's going to do it for me today, everybody. Thank you guys for listening, and girls. Thank you guys and girls and everybody out there for listening. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, I didn't rabble on for too long there. And like always, though, but thank you guys for listening. I always appreciate it. Thank you so much. And make sure you guys subscribe on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, anywhere else that it's available. Like I said, I'm trying to get on Spotify for you guys out there too. Like I said, just if you like what you heard, just like I said, subscribe, follow along on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, all that good stuff. I'm there. Brown Mamba Radio, Brown Mamba, personal stuff, Jackson, or JXCKSXNNN. That's 3 N's. I'm rushing because I gotta get out of here. I literally have to get out of here. And like I said, it's like I said, I'm just glad that this month is almost over and we can just move on and look forward to bigger and better things. So like I said, hopefully you guys all enjoy your weekend. And see you guys at the Dodger game on Saturday. And make sure you guys out there, make sure you keep that big dick energy if you got it. Make sure you keep that average dick energy too if you got it. And I'm looking out for y'all out there too. If you got the small dick energy, don't be ashamed of that shit. Keep that shit all weekend. You know what I mean, fellas and ladies too. Like I said, when there's so much negativity going on, like I said, all we can do is just show love. So keep all that great energy all weekend long. See you guys at the Dodger game on Saturday. Don't just have a good weekend, make it a good weekend. Drink more water. Your health is wealth. Please be kind to each other. It's easy to be nice. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.